Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Matt Piguero. I'm a Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialist with CareerSource Flagler Volusia. A little about me and my roles: I provide special services, employment services to eligible veterans and spouses to gain employment.
I'm Jamie Newcomb. I am the Center Manager for our CareerSource Flagler Volusia Center in Daytona Beach, and I also manage our professional services program as well.
Definitely. Now, today we're here to talk about a very important topic, especially for veterans, and that is how to prepare and get the most out of your next career fair. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, even your second time, be sure to follow us. You can go to our website at CareerSourceFV, that's like FoxVictor.com. You can also follow us, share our page information through Facebook at CareerSourceFV. We appreciate all of your time, and we're going to jump right into our topics. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, me too, man.
Throughout the couple of years that I've had after the military, I've had my fair chance at going to a lot of career fairs. However, I wasn't prepared initially. So this is definitely an important topic. So Jamie, I'm going to get started right off the gate. We know that the process of career fairs have changed throughout the years, especially recently with the latest pandemic. Things kind of shifted around. What are some of the trends that you see have changed but are starting to come back now?
Great question. I think one of the big changes is that when you used to be going to career events, it was only ever in person. Now we have the options of doing them online, doing them virtually, and that comes, with a whole different set of things you need to remember. One of the things about the pandemic and the virtual world is that you don't get that right next to each other, just like you and I are talking here.
Yeah.
And so if you ever have the opportunity to do a virtual job fair, it's great. You can do it from home. You can, be comfortable. You can get your items in order and prepare that way. Because we are coming out of the pandemic, though, I think a lot of employers are really wanting to have that interaction, that face-to-face experience again. And so we are seeing a lot more events happening. We've had them in our centers, especially in the last month. And the event coming up in November is going to be even better because we get a chance to have so many more employers all in one area, people from the community, potential candidates from the community. So I think it's just a great opportunity for both sides, employers and potential employees, to come together and start to building those relationships.
I agree. And everybody knows how fun a career fair can be. Sometimes it can be intimidating, but getting out into the workforce and, preparing yourself for that next level in life, I think anybody and everybody should always be excited about. Now, Jamie, young Matthew coming out the Marine Corps was not prepared for a job fair or even a career fair.
Sure.
As you know, there are a lot of veterans that are transitioning, and there are some veterans that haven't been in the workforce for a while. Mm-hmm. So a question that I have for you: what is a quick tip that you would provide to a veteran in preparation for attending a career fair? What should we expect out of a career fair?
Well, I've got a couple tips, actually.
First of all,
tips. Come prepared. Don't just drive in and walk in and with nothing. You really need to be prepared. This is a great opportunity to realize that some preparation work before the event is going to make a big difference when you are there. Employers are going to notice that. So be prepared. Bring the best first impression of you. Don't come in looking like you don't know why you're there. Don't come in with a scowl. Be enthusiastic. Be yourself. This is the first time you get to share with a potential employer who you are and the chemistry that you bring to the table, basically. Do your research. Most places now, if they are advertising in any way about a hiring event, they will list the employers that are going to be there. They will list the jobs that are open. So do your research. If you don't have any idea of who is going to be there or what jobs are going to be there, you won't have the ability to necessarily present the skill sets that you have to them in a way that shows them why you are wanting to be part of their team. And I think the last thing is to be realistic with yourself. Don't try to get to every single employer. If there are lines of people at one particular employer, go to another one. Get the opportunity to have that one-on-one. You don't want to miss that opportunity if you can help it. But don't try and think to yourself that I've got to get to see every single person, because you're not going to necessarily have unlimited time.
I agree. And you actually said you mentioned a couple of key points that I think resonated with me, because the reality of it is, like I said before, I wasn't prepared for my first career fair coming out of the military. So being myself is something that I wasn't doing. I was the shy person, so I would typically show up and not know what to say and just kind of play the corner, maybe look at a table, see the brochures that they have. But I was intimidated. I was not ready to actually speak to an employer. And I realized the impact that it had on me. I went months sometimes without a job. So that's actually going into my next question. I know that we spoke a little bit about the preparation, and one of the things that you mentioned was research. So what kind of research would you give, or research tips would you give a veteran when going for a career fair? Is there a place where they can find the job postings? Should they be looking for that? Things of that nature.
Sure. So for instance, with our P4P, we have it listed on our website, and we will have the information about the different employers that are going to be there. So I suggest that you go to those websites, the individual employer websites, go to their social media, go to their Facebook, look to their Twitter feeds, see what it is that they're talking about. Get a feel for their culture, get a feel for how they interact in the community. On every website, you should have an area right at the top, probably a tab that indicates careers, or maybe down at the bottom, at the very bottom of the landing page on their website, so you can get a feel for that, and usually that will be there, and that will allow you to see what jobs are they're hiring for right now. That'll give you the opportunity to talk to the people who are going to be the representatives of that company at the event. Tell them that you're interested in this position. Do they know any more about it? Give you a chance to kind of bridge that gap of, what do I say? I'm here, I'm interested. I saw on your webpage that you're hiring for this. Is there any more information you can share with me about that?
I agree with you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, one of the best pieces of advice that I did get was to go to the company website. Typically, when you want to do your research about a company, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's a big section that says About Us.
Yes.
And I learned, reviewing their mission statement, looking at their values actually helps us to create conversation when we do get to that booth.
Exactly.
Besides just talking about the positions that we're applying for, because now you might leave a lasting impression. So I do appreciate that advice.
Absolutely.
So now, when attending a career fair, a job fair, even a hiring event, I know that there's a lot of preparation in just preparing our inner selves, being our best selves, and remembering our why. So this, when we get there, we have lots to talk about. But now let's talk about some of the things that we should bring, because once again, younger Matthew got to the career fair, maybe had one resume, didn't have a pen, didn't have a pencil. And I know that there's so many other things that we can bring with us to prepare. So what advice would you give a veteran when attending a career fair on the things that they should bring?
Sure. I think one thing that you absolutely need to bring is knowledge that you have pre-registered. If that is an option, absolutely pre-register. I know that we do that, especially for CareerSource events. We always try to pre-register, and I know that if you email Vet Services, they will help you get pre-registered so that you can really just walk right in. You don't have to spend any time filling out any kinds of information. It's already done for you. But as far as the physical, tangible items, yes, a pen, a pad folio if you have one, paper, a notebook, copies of your resumes. And as far as how many you might want to think about bringing, you would want to think about all of the employers you want to target. So you definitely want to make sure you have enough for them, and then bring a few extras, maybe 5 extras, just in case, because you may not necessarily think that you are interested in a particular company or that they have a position that you would naturally fit into. But then you get to talking to someone because maybe there's a line and you decide, you know what, I'm going to step in over here. I've got an opportunity to talk to somebody, and whether or not the fit is going to be right for us, I'm making a contact. They're getting a chance to communicate with me. I'm getting a chance to communicate with them. So you want to bring a few extras, because if they are asked for them, you want to be able to hand them one. Another great item to bring would be a business card. You may not necessarily hand over a resume, but if you have a business card that is very, just focused, your name, your phone number, email address, and some key terms and skill sets that you can offer, that's a great opportunity to just be able to hand over. We like to talk about it as a mini resume. It's not going to be, full of information, but it's just going to have those key focal items that you want to share with somebody.
Okay, so when we speak of key terms, we're saying, we can include motivation, leadership, training, teamwork, time management. Those are some of the keywords that I've noticed have floated around, not just on resumes, but that we can include within our business cards.
And I would also include a couple of hard skills as well. If you are in any way licensed to do something, if you drive a particular type of machinery, if you are excellent in Excel, if you are, a presenter, different softwares that you use. Things like that. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
So before we go on, I just want to do a quick little recap for some of those that may just be tuning in, probably caught the video in the middle because, this can go on sometimes. Sure. But what we did speak about is some of the trends that have stuck around. As everybody knows, throughout the pandemic, we kind of shifted into going into a lot of virtual platforms, and those still exist. But we're also excited to get back out there, get moving again, have that actual human interaction. We also went over some quick tips for veterans. So the best one is go there being your perfect self. There's no reason to be intimidated. We're looking for work. We're interested in meeting new people, networking, and building those relationships that can ultimately land us employment. We also spoke about the steps that can be taken. So one of the things that I'm going to mention first and foremost is dress to impress. There are so many instances where we don't know what to wear, and there are a lot of great resources to where if you don't have access to clothing, there's always a will and a way. Sure. We also spoke about, bringing a pen and paper. This way, if you need to take notes, take contact information down, at least you'll have that available for you. Resumes, if you're targeting, let's say 5 or 6 different jobs, it may be smart to bring 2 or 3 resumes per each position that you're looking to apply for. This way you're prepared. Maybe you might not use each resume, but at least there's going to be one person at that booth. They'll be able to see your talent. So those are all very key tips that we can have when attending a career fair.